I am bringing this up. Yeah. So the hard R situation from Stellar Blade. That's the next story here. Did this come up? I think you said this to me, Dorgon. I don't know
I
if you said
did. I forgot about it. It's just when you
this.
say the words hard R, it's the same as your Ring Kings thing. Your brain just goes immediately to the gutter and you're derailed.
Oh my gosh. Um, well, and no, I smell like tacos. Ray, I feel like that's, a little bit of hard R there.
So
Anyways,
bringing it back on track, yes.
bringing it back on track. We have a situation where this is what I was sort of alluding to in Elden Ring. You have immense attention to detail. Every piece of brick is sort of placed there and it has a story and a reason behind it. And sometimes you have video game artists that are not necessarily from our culture. So how could they possibly have known this, designing this in South Korea, right? You got to give them some sort of leeway and stretch for that. And that's where this kind of is created. They're just kind of making a scene and a setting, and some things sort of cross, and it's kind of random chaos, and that's how I see it.
It's just a weird, in some ways funny mistake, but I can understand how it could be an offensive mistake. But they've already corrected it, and they've gone through the rest of the game to see if they can find it anywhere else. Essentially, they've got a bunch of graffiti that they made for this game that goes up on the walls. One of them is the word hard, and it just so happened to be next to a building that had R at the start of its name. And this person took a screenshot of it for the hard R thing, which has two different connotations. You've either got the one that we've already spoken about, which is in the gutter, or you've got the other one, which is just completely deplorable. But as you say, the Korean culture doesn't cross with our culture as often. They don't speak English as a first or even second or third language. It's generally their fourth or fifth. So these are things and little things that they won't know about, passes through all of their internal testing and checking and all that sort of stuff, comes out to the other side, and suddenly they get more eyes on it from different cultures, and something gets highlighted. That's all this is, and it blew up into something completely unrequired. And I feel like that's basically the narrative of Stellar Blade right now. Like anything it does or that is done around it, it blows up to levels that it doesn't need to be at for what is being reviewed as an absolutely phenomenal game for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it around. However, some executives at EA are saying this is not fair, and criticizing the ratings board for apparently Stellar Blade getting special treatment. Well, make your game look like that, and you will get special treatment too.
Are you saying that Stellar Blade has pretty privilege?
It's the world has pretty privilege. I mean, why wouldn't Stellar Blade also have it as well?
Yeah, it's ratings boards are weird. One of the most notorious in the world is the Australian one. They will ban certain things and not other things because they just can't give them classifications under their strict terminology and rule sets. But Japan's fairly similar to that. It's got quite strict rules. And what EA are saying here is they got an R rating, a restricted rating, an 18 age rating, depending where in the world you are. They all come down to the same thing. And they got that because there were dismembered bodies and gore in this particular game. And they're saying that Stellar Blade also has dismembered bodies and gore in its particular game. Why have they got a mature rating, not a restricted rating? And the simple answer comes down to, well, you dismembered humans, they dismembered very inhuman monsters without a lot of blood. It's more like tar. They went the more fantasy route with it, which allowed them to come to a lower rating. It's very obvious if you look at it, but as somebody from a business, you play the victim card and try to get rules changed because you want to make more money. I don't agree with it personally. I think the ratings boards have done their jobs in their different geographies, but yeah, like I said, everything around Stellar Blade. A little bit of news, a little bit of something insignificant that wouldn't be brought up from another game because it's this game for some reason. It seems to be elevated to another level. Weird.
Hey, every now and then a game gets a lot of attention, especially if it's an exclusive. People want to talk about it. It's got a bit of a buzz. But that's how it goes. However, we were having a discussion here. Stellar Blade New Game Plus mode available on launch April 26th. My side of the argument is, why are you bragging for features that should essentially be coming with the game? I'm used to games that have New Game Plus there. I was a little bit disappointed to see that New Game Plus was not included in Spider-Man, that we had to wait a little bit of time to be able to get that update. I'm just not going to celebrate the fact that your game came out with New Game Plus. I don't think it should be like this extra celebrated thing. I just think it's great that you did it. And I think it should be standard with this game that sort of only has one mode throughout it. What are your thoughts on the New Game Plus and celebrating it?
I'm kind of agreeing with you, but I'm also seeing other sides to it. For me, I'm tired of buying unfinished games. God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, Days Gone, a bunch of others in more recent times, especially from PlayStation Studios, have launched without New Game Plus modes. They come in an update further down the line, generally 6 or 12 months later. And I get wanting to play a game again. I've played things like God of War 3 through to completion probably 15 times since it launched in 2010. And I never want to go into a new version of that with all of my old stuff. I have the option to, that those games launched with that sort of New Game Plus, run through it again with all of your old unlocks. But there's something about the upgrade route, the challenges, playing for the story, and maybe doing a non-upgrade run, which is really difficult. But as you say, if a game's going to have New Game Plus, surely it should launch with it. When you look at the likes of all of the FromSoft games, so whether it's Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, whatever it is from that studio, they come with a New Game Plus at launch. Stellar Blade is shouting about coming with it at launch, even though it shouldn't be a shouted about thing. There's many that don't, so I understand them saying about it. And one of the reasons they wanted to put it out there is it wasn't going to be in any review, because New Game Plus was not in review copies because they hadn't got it ready. They managed to get it ready for launch day. So again, sort of two sides to that particular argument, but yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one. It's like, just launch a finished game, mate. Stop bragging about having basic features in your game at launch. That should be the norm.
Yeah. All right. Two agreeing. And there we have it.
Two agreeing.
But this game, yes, this game comes out, as you said, very well performing. Digital Foundry's tech review came out with glowing reviews, saying that this is a well-performing game, extremely smooth with no load stuttering, unlike other Unreal Engine 4 games like Jedi Survivor. Loading times are only a few seconds. There's three graphics modes, and the targeting 60 FPS does seem to hold extremely well, except there's slight dips when there is intense cutscenes. But they are giving it glowing reviews in the tech review from Digital Foundry, and if you're more curious, definitely check it out. But I think this is impressive to see, especially with a lot of games that we've seen recently just not passing the bar, not really earning that gold status that I think they should have when they released their game, and feeling more like early access, where this seems very complete. So
yeah, like I say, it feels complete. On launch day, they had the New Game Plus. It's running at 60 frames per second. When it's targeting 60 frames per second, it's basically locked. the balanced mode, you don't particularly notice that many frame drops. You do notice them, they are there, but there's not that many through the whole game, as Digital Foundry have said. And quality mode is basically locked at 4K, that doesn't really dip. These guys, for their first game, they've knocked it out the park in terms of technical performance, in terms of story, in terms of gameplay. I've heard very little bad about it, and when there are negatives to be spoken about the game, it comes down to jiggle physics and fashion, essentially, and just the male gaze eye candy sort of thing.
Fashion.
Something you or I are not part of, yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen my multicolored shirt. It is fashion at its best.
I've seen your Hawaiian shirt and trousers matching set.
That's the one. That's fashion, bro. That's fashion.
Is that fashion? Is it?
Yeah.
That just seems lazy.
Oh my gosh.
These match. Let's put them on together.
Eggs, and it's loud. I'm wearing them for the show next time. We'll see.